Okay, so we've turned in your bell ringer. We're just going to have those on Monday to Thursday. We won't have those on Friday. What I've done for you, it's at the top it says 8th grade informative writing unit. I put every handout that I'm going to be giving you here. So that way, if you don't have it or you're at home and you can't remember, it's all going to be right here. So if you click on that, this is the rubric that I'm going to use to grade your informative essay. Same one I used last year. Your engaging statement, your thesis, and all your categories. We're actually on number 2 today, is what we're going to talk about, and that's establishing a clear thesis. And then it breaks it down out to the side, whether you're going to get a 4 out of 4 on that, a 3 out of 4, a 2 out of 4, or a 1 out of 3. Here is your list of humanitarians. Here is the website evaluation. All of these pages, you have them. Ideas for research, if you lose this. Here's some samples. The source documentation page, which you have the handout of. This is where I want you to be today.
If you lose it and you don't have internet access at home, could you copy at school?
Yeah, I can, John. But if it's the weekend and you want to look at it, then, you know, at least here's another option, okay? All right, so thesis statement. We are writing about a humanitarian and how things or events in their life, how they have been able to help other people based on those events, okay? So your thesis statement is usually the last sentence of your introduction. So it's going to be somewhere towards the end of your very first paragraph is where your thesis statement is going to go. Let me make this a little bigger, if that'll help. How to write a thesis statement. Ask a question about your topic. So let's say you're going to write about me, okay? Who is Mrs. Avery? What is significant about Mrs. Avery? So who am I? Anybody?
Our teacher.
I am your teacher at Glacier Junior High School. Yes?
You own a chicken farm?
I own a chicken farm. Now that's interesting because that puts me under this significant. There's lots of teachers here. You know lots of teachers, even in other schools. But what sets me apart is the fact that I have the chicken farm. So that is something that's kind of like, oh, a little unknown piece of information that gives me kind of like my own, specification, if you will. Okay? Think of some of the answers to your questions. So these are just the examples they gave us. Mr. Smith is a great teacher who makes learning fun. He can relate to his students. He is strongly devoted to his students' academic progress. He has high expectations for students. So if we could kind of combine 1 and 2. So an example, Mr. Smith is an exceptional, devoted teacher because he makes learning fun and helps students achieve high expectations. We could do the same thing with what we said about myself. Mrs. Avery, who is an ELA teacher at Glacier Junior High School. What else? Use some sort of an adjective to describe me and how I feel about you. So motivates students to get their work done, sets a high level of expectations for students to get their work done. What else? Anything else? Okay, so Mrs. Avery Mrs. Avery has high expectations for students to get their work completed, and she does what? What else do I do, AJ? You just tossed it out there a minute ago. Yes, and not only is she a teacher, she also owns her own business, which is a chicken farm. Okay? So here's combining these two things together. Now, when you're writing yours, you need to check to see, is it specific or not? So here is a weak example, and here's a good example. Frederick Douglass was an amazing writer. Kind of dull, a little boring, no real details there. Frederick Douglass's experience as an orphan and a slave inspired him to become a powerful writer who exposed the oppression of slavery. We still know from this that he's a good writer, but we get so much more information than just this one sentence. Did you answer how or why? Here would be a weak example. In this paper, I will discuss how Mozart's life made significant contributions to music. Do I need to know in this paper? Do I need to know that? No. I know what's in the paper. I'm reading it. You don't need to tell me that's where it is. I'm fully aware of where it's at. Here's a better example of saying the same thing. Mozart's extraordinary talent and privileged upbringing enabled him to change the world with his music. Still saying the same thing, but sounds so much more, using those academic vocabulary words, so much more eloquent, using those really descriptive words that I want to read. Avoid stating a fact. Marie Curie was a scientist. So do you want your thesis statement to be, whoever your person was a humanitarian? We already know they're a humanitarian because we've already established here's a list of humanitarians. We know this. You don't need to say it again. Why does that keep saying coffee? There it is. By overcoming the challenges of poverty and sexism, Marie Curie became the first woman to receive the Nobel Prize. In your thesis statement, hold on. You need to tell me, it's like the basis of your whole essay. This is what you're going to tell me about throughout the rest of the thing. How significant or what your person did to help others. That should be the last sentence of your first paragraph, so that way I know what I should be reading the entire rest of the essay. Any questions on what a thesis statement should look like or shouldn't look like? No? Okay, so I'm going to stop this.